What's up, guys? So I just woke up from night shift and I got a super awesome package that I want to share with you guys. I am working 3 in a row this week, so I worked last night, I worked tonight, and then I work tomorrow night from 11 to 11, which sounds horrible. It's probably going to be horrible, but it's okay. I have my nurse residency on Thursday morning, so my schedule's kind of weird that day. But I wanted to show you guys what I got in the mail. I got my Home Chef order. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I don't have to make anything. I'm so excited. And I got these letters that my mom picked out for us. These are galvanized letters from Amazon. They're beautiful. Super excited about that. But let's see what we got this week for order. All right, so if you've never watched one of my videos before, I'm a big Home Chef person. This is a meal prep company. They send you your meals each week. You pick them out. Everything is ready to go, pre-portioned, all the fun stuff. I picked out some bangin' meals this week. I'm so excited. This one being my favorite. Literally, look at that. That's a nacho chicken flatbread. We got some homemade chicken thigh tacos, and I actually subbed out the chicken thighs for regular chicken. Just chicken, boneless chicken, skinless breasts. I don't love chicken thighs, so subbed that out. You do have that ability to change things and customize things. Mongolian beef with roasted broccoli. Acapulco fajita beef skillet with pico de gallo. Look at that. Delicious. We don't do Home Chef every single week, but it's definitely beneficial to do it every other because it just takes the convenience, puts the convenience in your life, I guess I should say. All right, friends, I'm getting ready to go to work here in a little bit, but Sam made this nacho chicken flatbread with jalapeno salsa and tortilla strips. All the ingredients are here. Let's see how he did. Looks pretty dang good. All right, you guys, as always, I've always talked about Home Chef. You guys know that I love Home Chef. We've used it for months now. The best thing about it is the fact that it really does take the stress out of cooking. We did not buy groceries this week at all. We literally just get the box, throw it in our fridge, and we get to use the ingredients that are already preset for us. Super, super nice, and you kind of get to learn like new cooking skills. Like every time I've made something, I've learned a new way to do something. And another favorite part about it is that you have the recipe in front of you, like you get to keep them in a little binder. So if you were to like make the recipe in the future, you already have it and you know a different skill as to like I've learned how to make like sauces, like with like they'll give us like light cream and like a mustard or something, and you mix them and you make a sauce. It's like awesome to learn new ways to do things that, I mean, I know that's simple, but it's really nice when you get to learn through the service that you're using. And obviously we use Home Chef because it's amazing and healthy and the meals are always so delicious, like that flatbread, and we're also making one right now, like so good, always. They're always, I try and pick like the healthier, lower calorie options, but they do have like vegan, gluten-free, 18 meal options a week. You have so much to choose from, and they have the smaller lunch options too. Super, super, super awesome. I can't recommend it enough. So with that being said, I want you all to try it. Need you all to try it. You all need to try it. It's life-changing. So they're offering their best discount they have ever offered. It is $80 off your first 4 orders, which means you sign up and you're gonna get $20 off 4 orders. So with that $80 discount, you guys, you can try Home Chef. You don't have to commit. There's no commitments at all. You can sign up, get ready to get that $80 off 4 orders total and get $20 off your first one. And if you hate it and you don't like it and you don't think it's for you, you do not have to order 3 more boxes. You're just going to get the combined total if you keep ordering, which I'm pretty sure you'll want to after you have it the first couple times, first time, whatever. Just try it. I promise, I promise, I promise it's worth a shot of trying, taking the stress out of your cooking. Okay, you guys, this was so requested. I know I've already worn this shirt in a video, but it was completely necessary for this video because you guys are asking to see or hear or have me talk about what my day looks like as a brand new nurse. What is my flow? How do I go about my day when I get there? What is it like days versus nights? Like, what do I do? Like, it's a lot, and it's a lot to process and think, and I obviously have not, I want to clarify, I have not been on my own very long at all, but it's not difficult to have a flow. I've been on the floor since last September. I started on this floor, and I definitely have somewhat of a flow. Is it perfected yet? Absolutely not. Not even like a little bit is it perfected, but it's pretty consistent. It's pretty much the same thing. It has been since the moment I started. I just learn new things every single day on how to perfect this groove and make it better. So if that helps at all, gives you somewhat of an idea, this is everything I'm going to tell you is how my shifts go. I just get to learn more and more as I go, and meeting people and working with people. I always get new tips and tricks, and they're like, hey, do this, it's easier, do this, it's better, or this is the smarter way to do this. It's like you're constantly learning, and I feel like that's never going to change. Like, you're always going to be constantly learning. So I figured that it was acceptable to tell you guys how things are going now. So let's get into that. Okay, so this was the inspo behind the video. Like, I've gotten direct messages of people asking me, but I actually got a comment and a bunch of people liked it saying, please make a video about your unit, what a typical day looks like, how you organize your patient's tasks, and what's been the hardest adjustment from student to nurse. So I think I'm gonna start with telling you guys about the adjustment of going from student to nurse and what the hardest thing is. I mean, I've talked about it a little bit, but like, I would say the main hard, like, difficult part for me is just finding my place with all of the skills I've learned and kind of putting that into play as a professional, because it's not even like a feeling you can just spread away from being a student. Like, it's not that easy. Like, you constantly are always like second guessing yourself and overthinking and like going over the 5 rights a million times. Like, I literally can tell you that every single shift I've worked by myself, every single med I've given, I have looked at the package and looked at my MAR and looked at the package and looked at my MAR again and looked at my patient and looked at their wristband and looked at the barcode and looked at the med again a million times, because I am absolutely terrified, you guys. Like, it's a feeling I can't describe. It's not a bad feeling. It's not like, wow, I hate what I'm doing. It's like, holy, I'm uncomfortable and I am alone and I'm licensed and this is professional and I'm the one they're looking at, you know? I can't even begin to describe. Working on the floor I'm working on was the best decision I've ever made, because it's harder than shit. It's not like I think I've said this, it's not like your normal med surg floor. It is like amped up on steroids, and it's so busy, it's so fast paced. There's so much going on that you have to be on your game. Like, and I'm not. So it's definitely a lot of stress, but when you're looking at all of your medications and you're figuring everything out, like, it's definitely the hardest thing. It's just finding your place, realizing that you're a nurse now, you're not a student any longer. You don't need to ask everybody for their permission. You don't need a clinical instructor to go into the room with you to pass meds. Like, you're figuring it all out, and that's the scariest and hardest transition, honestly, and it's going to take years for me to feel more and more comfortable. Not to say that I will ever feel comfortable, because pushing Dilaudid through a person's IV makes me want to throw up, because I don't like that. The fact that they could go into respiratory distress like at any moment and just like stop breathing is scary as balls to me, and always will be. Like, I don't care who you are, if your pain tolerance is through the roof, I don't care. I don't like pushing that med. Like, I want to help you and decrease your pain, but I don't want you to code on me. Does that make sense? Like, it's scary. It's very scary what we do, but it's awesome and adrenaline and exciting, you guys. It's so exciting at the same time. Like, I can't stress that enough. Everything I'm saying, it's all exciting and incredibly amazing. So it's wonderful to help lives. Go team. All right, so I'm just gonna break down my day for you. I'm gonna try and not make this video 40 minutes long, because I hate that when I do that. And I know you guys say you watch them, but I just hate doing that. I feel really bad that my videos are that long. But my typical day, I'm gonna tell you guys about night routine, because days is a little bit different. It's not a little, it's a lot different. They're so much busier because your patients are going for labs. They're going for, not labs, we get labs in, lab comes in the morning, but like going for tests and, you know, going to procedures or going to surgery or discharging, or you're getting admissions, or you're getting transfers from other units. You're getting, you know, 10,000 family members. You have doctors, you have residents, you have students, you have social workers, you have PT, OT, you know, you have charge nurse, you have all of your employees and just everybody who's around, housekeepers. I mean, those are all the people that are around during the day. And at night, none of those people are around. You are surrounded by your coworkers and maybe a couple strangling, maybe a couple family members that are just kind of hanging out a little bit or staying with their family member, which is great. But that's what you see at night, so it's a little bit different. And I've only been on by myself on nights. My first day by myself is actually on my birthday. It really is though. It's on my birthday. I'm a little scared for that, but one of my mom nurses on my unit is going to try and get us in the same pod, so I'm excited about that. So I can like ask her for help if I need it, because I always need help with something most of the time. Not all the time, most of the time. But anyways, so when I get to work, my shifts are 7 to 7. So 7 to 7:30 actually. So technically I don't clock out until 7:30 because we get half an hour taken out for lunch. So if you want the 12 hours, which you need because I'm salary, you have to stay till 7. I think the time you can clock out is like 7:17 or something to make it 12 hours. So I work 7 to 7:30. So if you want to think about it like this, I go to work, I leave for work around 6:10 and do whatever I'm gonna do. That's just because I need to get there early. So I leave work 6:10, I don't get home until 8. So that's like almost 13, 14 hours depending on the day, because sometimes I stay past 7:30. So if you can kind of think about that, it's a really long day. And when we do them 3 days in a row, it can literally murder you. So that's kind of how it like shapes out hour wise. But I get to my unit about 20 minutes early, so I try and get there at 6:40. First thing I do is I walk on the unit and I look. Our unit's split into 2 halves, so like you could be on either end, but they're like their own units, but we're just one giant unit. But my unit's huge, so you're either on this side or that side. So I'll stop at the first unit and see if I'm assigned to that side, because that's the first one when you walk in, and if I'm not, I'll go to the other side. If I'm assigned to that side, great, I know where I'm at. I look which pod I'm in, and that's kind of where I know my assignments. I don't get my assignments right there, but that's just to know which break room I'm gonna go to. So if I'm on the first side, I will go into the break room, I will put my things away, grab my stethoscope, put my name badge on, clock in if I can. We have to clock in at 47, so if I'm not ready to clock in, I can't yet. Most of the time it's too early, so put my name badge on, grab my stethoscope, grab my water bottle. I can have a water bottle in my pod as long as it's not open or anything. So I write my assignments down and I go back to my pod and I get on I log into my charting system and I go to those assignments and I put those patients into my patient list. We chart with Epic, so I don't know if you guys know what Epic is or not, but that's our charting system. So I put my patients into Epic and I put them on my patient list, and I also put them into patient handoff. Patient handoff is where we have a basic description of like a lowdown of why the patient's here, anything that nurses need to know about them. Like this is how we communicate with each other during the shifts. Like if they're standby assist, if they're assistive 2, that's on there. Their diet's on there. If they have IV access, where it's at. They always have IV access for the most part. So that's on there, and it tells us where the IV's at. It has a brief history of their patient history and like admission reason, that kind of thing, and then just kind of like a lowdown of why they're there. And I think that's great for hospitals to do. I don't know if everybody does that, but I think that's great because it just kind of gives you a brief overview of the patient. And if you were like coming onto the shift and things were emergent, you had an idea of what's going on with this person, you know? So that's kind of bonus. So when I print off those sheets, that's basically what I'm printing off. And then the other is my patient list, which I can click on them either one in the handoff or just in the list. And that's how I get into my patient's chart. So when I get my list, I staple them together just because that helps me keep track all day. I don't carry a clipboard. I don't bring my own pens. I don't bring any of my own stuff besides my stethoscope and my water bottle, because hospitals are gross. And I don't want to bring home pens that I've used in patients' rooms when I've, weighed their poop or weighed their pee, or, just cleaned up a bowel movement or some kind of body fluid, and I've touched that with a glove or because a lot of times you need to write things down right away. I don't remember everything. So if I have my pen on me in my pocket, I'm gonna pull it out and use it. Not if my hand's dirty, but if you're working with a patient and you're touching that, I don't want to bring that to my home. So we use everything there. I don't bring anything. So I do have a folder that has a notepad in it that's strictly for the hospital. I will never take it out and use it here, but that I do have in my bag and I will bring out, but it's not like a clipboard. I could probably get a clipboard, but I haven't felt the need to use one because we just use the sheets. So when I get my sheet and I've looked at my patient's information briefly, what I do is I write out everything I need to chart. So I could go get my name tag and show you guys, but there's like a lowdown of what I have to chart. I guess I'm not going to show you guys because it's not really a big, you guys don't have to chart the same things, but there's things that we need to chart with each shift. So your head to toe assessment, safety things, IVs, you need to chart on IVs. Like if an IV's running, we chart on those every 2 hours. If it's saline locked, we chart on those every 4. Your pain, lots of other scales that you use to kind of help with pressure ulcer prevention, injury prevention, falls, stuff like that. We have a lot we have to chart. If the patient has a PCA, we have to chart on that. heparin drips, you know, drips of any kind, like there's certain protocols that are for charting. So what I'll do is dependent on my patient, and if they have IV fluids running or whatever, like I kind of map out on each like list. So it's like a full sheet of paper, and I have my patient's info up here, and then underneath over here on this side, I write out what I need to chart for that day. And then this whole other side is going to be my report from the other nurse coming on, things I need to note, things I need to know in general, anything that could be happening that night or day, that type of thing. So what I'll do when I'm looking through my patient's chart, the first things that I look for, why are they here? You know, who is this person? How old are they? I always look at isolation. I have a little tab up here that tells me if that person's in isolation. That's the first thing I'm looking at, because I want to know that. I mean, that's to protect myself and just to have a general idea of how my day is going to go and how I'm going to prioritize my tasks. Because if somebody's in isolation, which my floor is infectious disease as well, I'm not going into that room first. That's going to be the room I go into last, because, well, dependent upon how like acute they are and what's like their acuity status is compared to my other 4. But I always look at isolation because you're going to be in that room a lot longer. So I try and like know that in advance so I can prioritize. The next thing that I'm looking at is, you know, what's their diet? What's their code status? Always, 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 always write my code status on my patient's, like my patient sheets, because I need to know that, because I am not going to get into this yet. I'm going to tell you guys about this situation, but I've had a situation where I needed to know a code status rather quickly. So make sure you write your code status if you're taking notes or whatever. That's just my personal preference, because things can change immediately. Like, they can change really fast. Learn that the hard way. So once I write that stuff down, I'm looking at anything that needs to be done, or like anything that is like hanging out from the previous shift, because I want to know those things. If it was a lab that came earlier in the day, I want to know why it wasn't got or collected, or if it's something I need to do, I want to know how they get up. I want to know what their orders are. So that's what I'm looking at when I say I'm looking at all this stuff. I should have said that. I'm looking at their orders. I'm looking at, you know, how do they move around? Do they have SCDs on? Are they on different precautions? You know, that kind of thing. That's what I'm looking through. I like to know, like, if they're on continuous pulse ox, if they're on, you know, Q8, Q4 vitals, what's their situation, and how are they shaping up next to everybody else. So the next thing I do is I will go into meds, and what I do really quickly is I try and do all of this in 20 minutes. You obviously can't do it all. Sometimes you get pulled in quickly. I will go look at their meds, and on each person I'll write in, we're 24-hour clock, and that's how I look at everything, is 24 hours. So if I get there at night, most of the time there's like 20-30 meds, 22 meds, 2300 meds. Sometimes there's 230 meds. 6 a.m., 5 a.m.s, anything like that. So I'll write out the meds on each person. What I do when I do this, and this is important because this is how I prioritize and delegate tasks, is I need to know if they're a diabetic, because we get a lot of diabetics on the floor, and if somebody's diabetic and they have insulin due at night and it wasn't given yet, that's important, and that's a first priority for me. I want to know if that person has eaten, if that person has got anything for insulin like recently. Like, I want to look in that chart and see where they got their insulin last, because with short-acting insulins and long-acting, like, you kind of want to pay attention. I know that when you give long-acting, it's not like pertinent that they, you know, there's just like different things with that compared to short, but like short-acting insulin and eating, I want to know if they're going to order or not, because most of the time when I'm coming on at night, it's about almost 7:30 and like food closes at a certain time. Otherwise, you got to go through a different way to get food. So I like to know that. And if they have insulin, that's one of my first priorities, is to get that given and get that ready to go before bed, because most of the time they have more meds to give later. So that's important. Another thing that's really important that I look for is antibiotics and when those need to be hung, because those are priority. You have a 30-minute window to get those hung, and as a new grad, I'm really slow with my assessments and such. Not really slow, I'm getting better, but like, I have a lot to do on a shift in terms of giving medications, assessing my patient, taking care of their needs, and charting. Charting takes up a huge chunk, so I've been really focusing on, you know, who do I need to see first and do what, and when do things need to be hung, because antibiotics are a priority and I don't want those meds late. Other things can be late if they have to be, but those need to be hung and taken care of, especially like high alert things like heparin. If you have like a heparin drip going, or if you have, I had a Lasix drip the other day, like those are things you need to know and make sure you're hanging them appropriately. So I look at that as well in my medications, and that also helps me prioritize what's going on. So after I have done those 20 minutes of looking up all of those different things, the next thing I'm gonna do is find the nurse that's giving me a report, or she will find me 90% of the time. Let me put it that way. I don't go looking for her, she will come and find me. She or he will come and find me to give me a report, because most of the time those people are ready to kick it out of there. That's just the way it is. That's how I am in the morning. I'm going to find my nurse because she's gonna sit on the computer and look up those patients as long as she can, because that's just what you do. You wanna know about your patients before you need to go in and see them. That's common sense. So she gives me a report. We do bedside report. Sometimes we talk a little bit outside of the room because there's just some things you don't want to say in front of your patient that, you know, may be helpful to a nurse. And that's not anything that's like against a patient, but some things like if the nurse knows something from like, something that's going to happen or something the doctor hasn't spoke with the patient yet, that's the kind of thing that we talk outside the room for. Most of the time there's nothing you can't say in front of a patient, but there are some things that will just help the nurse in like coming on to like help that patient better and keep it a safer situation. So like if there's something going on with the family that you don't want to say in front of the patient, you know, like just situations like that, there's always a time where you might be saying something outside of the room. But for the most part, we do bedside report. We go in, we see each patient. I want to see their IVs. I want to see their drip if they have a drip. I want to know about anything in particular that's going on. If they have a wound, if they have edema, if they have a scratch, if they have something that's very pertinent that the nurses need to know and I need to be aware of. I want to go in and see it with the previous nurse so our points match up, because that's another thing when you're looking through charting. I look at vital signs as well. If there's something that's really vital sign or lab that's like way out, I want to know about that and go in and see the patient with the nurse before so we can kind of match up and, you know, are hearing the same things, if that makes sense. Seeing, hearing, viewing, whatever. Like I had a patient one time who had really low blood pressures. I wanted my eyes on that patient to see what was going on and to see if they were symptomatic, because I'm going to pay a lot of attention to that, because that's a big deal and there's a lot of things that can happen with low blood pressure. So going in and seeing the patient, touching them, getting your eyes on them to begin your shift is my number one thing. I don't care. And even if the nurse is a nurse who doesn't want to give you a report bedside, I still go in and I see those patients and I write my name on the board and I make sure the date's correct, because when I first started, like on even just like orientation, I was really bad about that. Like signing into my iPhone, we have iPhones, that's how we work. They're called Volts. I was really bad about that, and now I'm way good at it because I want my patient to, one, know my name, two, see my face and know who I am and what they like, who they're going to need to talk to get meds or help of any kind, and three, it's safe. You're going to see that patient, and if something goes wrong, because you're going to go see other patients and spend time with other patients, I want that patient to see me and I want to see them so that I know I have a general gist of what's going on and how they are right in that moment. So if something were to go wrong, I'm able to say, hey, I saw them at this point in time and this has changed, you know? So once I get bedside report from everybody, like I said, I talk to my patients each and just kind of say, hey, you know, I'll be around. Is there anything we can do for you right now while the other nurse is with me? And then we go on our way. To start my night, what I do is I get my portable computer. We have portable computers at the moment. Our rooms are doubles and there's a couple single rooms, but that's just the way it is. We're a really big hospital, so that's how that's the way it is on my floor. And I get my computer, I will wipe it down with like the cleaning bleach wipes, and I get like little medicine cups and like IV alcohol swabs. I just get everything like supplies wise, some saline flushes, stuff like that I'm gonna need. But I try not to get like loads of them, because you don't want patients to access that kind of thing. Like a medicine cup's one thing, but like you don't want to keep like needles or like tons of flushes. I just grab what I know I'm going to go need in that moment. So after I've done that, I kind of assess my patients in the situations and what's going on. Who do I need to see first? Who do I need to pay attention to right now? Who needs my care first? Because it's important to really like figure that out really fast, because your time is already clicking. Most of the time when you start your night, it's past 7:30 already and 8:30 meds are coming up. So who has antibiotics? Who has fluids that need to be changed? Who needs to be seen first? Who's in pain? Pain is a huge priority. So that's kind of how I delegate and figure out time prioritization. And let me tell you, I'm not perfect at it yet. At all. I'm really not. I'm really trying to figure it out, but I have gotten better and understand and like have gotten a little bit faster with the idea that you need to get as much done as you can in an amount of time in a safe manner. So prioritizing the patient who needs you the most would probably be the one that has antibiotics to hang, who's in pain, who has something that needs to be catered to right now, like somebody who has a dressing that needs to be changed because there's a lot of drainage and it's uncomfortable for the patient, that's something that takes priority. But here's the thing, here's the kicker of my shift. You are going to get pulled in 87 different directions on days or nights at any point in time. The night that goes smoothly is the night that I curse a little bit, because that means that my next one probably won't go like that. They're really good nights, but they're very few and short. You can prioritize in time, delegate your time in all the best ways, but sometimes it doesn't work out like that, and that's called nursing, and it's something that I've accepted finally, and it doesn't really bother me anymore or make me as nervous when I get pulled in a different direction. It does make me nervous if I have like a heparin drip or something, because or a PCA, like that kind of thing makes me nervous, because those things need to be paid attention to, and that's when you ask for help and to get help from your coworkers, because that's important, and that's the patient safety that you need to worry about. As for going about my day, when I go in, I do my assessment, I make sure the patient doesn't need anything. Do they have oxygen on? Is everything set that they need for bedtime? When do they want to go to bed? Did they get everything they needed that day? Do they have any questions they want me to pass along? Do they need anything from the doctors? Do I need to page about anything? That's what I'm assessing with each patient in a really fast amount of time, in a fast, safe way. I'm trying to figure out what needs to be done and what is getting done or what needs to happen in order to take care of this person. Then most of the time they all go to bed, and my night slows down probably around 10 or 11, and I pick up another patient at 11. I pick up a fifth patient at 11. So we start with 4 at 7, and we pick up a fifth at 11. On days, we only have 4 patients, so that's really nice, because obviously there's a lot more going on, but at night, most of the time people are sleeping. Is that the case all the time? Hell to the no. They don't always all sleep. Some people don't sleep at all in the hospital, and I think I would probably be one of those people, because there's so much going on. People are coming in and bugging you. The nurse is bugging you. The aide is bugging you. There's noises. You have a roommate sometimes. Like, it's hard. So when my night slows down and I pick up that fifth patient, I go in and assess them to the best of my ability. If they're sleeping, I don't wake them up. I basically just kind of wait for them to wake up, because they do throughout the night for bathroom, whatever they need. And that's when I'll go in and do a brief assessment, because I'm not going to keep them up all night looking at everything about them. Most of the time, the nurse who gives them to me at 11 has a better, more assessment and can warn me about things that I need to check out. So I'm not going to assess super in depth at 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 a.m. I just don't do that. I normally do it again in the morning when they wake up, because most of the time people wake up pretty early on our floor. So as all of this is going on, I'm charting, you guys. I'm charting through every single moment, every single chance I can get. I'm trying to get my stuff done. Most of the time, I have gotten my charting done by 12. That's what I aim to do, so that I can spend the rest of my night looking through their notes and kind of getting to know my patient better. My camera died, or just had no space, so I forgot what I was saying. But the night goes basically like that. Once it kind of chills down after midnight, it's basically just passing meds, checking on my patients literally all the time. I'm always walking into those people's rooms, and if they're sleeping, all I'm looking for is no distress, the rise of their chest, and nobody's on the ground, or had a BM, or that kind of thing. That's what I'm looking for, and making sure that we're rolling patients if we need to, that kind of thing. And then in the morning, when it gets up in the morning, I try and pass morning meds that are on my shift. If it's a 7:30 med, I'm gonna give it. We have an hour to give PO meds, and half an hour for anything IV, anything that needs to be hung. You have half an hour, so you can give anything an hour before or an hour after. It's that kind of a thing. It just needs to be within that time frame, if that makes sense. So I try and get everything done I need to for day shift, and then once it hits 7, I'm gonna find my nurse and give her a report, or multiple people reports on my patients, and then I go home and go to bed. It's really a lot, but that's kind of a lowdown on it. If you guys want more in depth and more descriptions and stuff like that, let me know. I will definitely do that as I move forward. But that's how my days look as of right now. Day shift is different only in the fact that it's daytime, so they're going to tests and stuff, but it's still the same format. The only thing is they have 3 different meals you're looking for. Oh, that's another thing. If I'm working nights, most of the time a lot of them will order breakfast, and again, I'm giving them their insulin, so that's something else that I prioritize in the mornings. But yeah, that's about all she wrote with that. I really do hope that helped in some way. I hope you learned something. Maybe your groove is similar to mine. Let me know. I love sharing, and comment anything you guys want to see down below, or more topics you want. And I will see you guys in the next video. Love you guys so much. Bye.
tell me why'd you have to go and drive me so crazy? Now I'm feeling lost without you, and I just can't be without you, baby. Won't you